is now 6 o'clock. This is a special call city council meeting for December the 8th of 2022 at 6 p.m. Citizens are encouraged to follow the COVID-19 safety measurements provided by the CDC guidelines. This meeting will be open to the public. However, meetings are available to watch on our YouTube channel, youtube.be/AZCJVCWWUON. Okay, you need to search for that in the city of Bruceville-Eddy. Please mute your phones and computers to avoid any interference during this meeting. Greetings to everyone. I want to thank you all for being here for this special called meeting. Well, hopefully we can get some things done tonight and get going on with our, if y'all would please stand for prayer. Lord God, our Father, we thank you for your kindness in bringing us all together today. Though we may not know what this meeting holds, we know that you do. As we begin, Lord, help us to keep your word in mind. Lead us into conversations that are fruitful and enrich the lives of those who are here with us today. When we are undecided, please lead us in your wisdom. When our opinions may disagree, help us to remain respectful to one another. More than anything, Lord, would you help us all to seek your will and to pursue your glory through all that we say and do. In the precious name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible. Okay, thank you all very much. Okay, I want to do roll call right now. Mr. Bass called in and he is sick. He was not feeling well. His wife went yesterday, but he called in and said he just couldn't make tonight's meeting. He really wanted to, but he couldn't. So he's not here tonight. And to my right, we have Councilman Griffin and Councilman Prater. To my left, we have Councilman Wiggins, Councilman McGruer, and our city administrator, Kent Minton. And then me, of course. Our chief of police is back there, Michael Dorsey. We have Pam Combs as our city secretary. We have Mrs. McGruer back there with all of the Danielle McGruer back there taking care of the computers and our webpage. And we also have here tonight our water department lady. And Laura, I'm sorry, but I can't, your last name? Acosta. Acosta, okay. Laura, okay. We have Laura here, okay. And I want to say thank you all for being here, and we'll get rolling on here. Okay, citizens presentation. This is where the citizens has the right to speak for 5 minutes uninterrupted of anything that's not on the agenda, but I don't think we have anybody tonight, do we, Ms. Pam? No. Okay. All right, hearing on solid waste collection services. Council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on an agreement with Waste Connection LLC. Council will hear presentations from both city staff and representatives of waste collection regarding the past provision of their solid waste removal services and take any corrective action deemed appropriate to include the termination of the agreement. Okay? Do you want to take it over there, Mr. Kent?
Mayor, council, citizens, representatives from Waste Connections, thank you so much for coming out tonight. I know we had a long week last week, and I kept you here way longer than we should have, but I want to make sure we steward our time well tonight. We do have some important stuff to talk about. So I'll jump right into it. So I just wanted to briefly kind of talk about an overview of our services that we've received. So, regular and prompt removal of trash, it's an essential service to local government, one that is needed to maintain both sanitary, public health issues from happening, also just aesthetically pleasing environments. It's important to our community. For the last 15 years, the city of Bruceville-Eddy has partnered with Waste Connections. They formerly known as IESI, or later as Progressive Waste Solutions. We've partnered with them through an exclusive franchise agreement to provide these solid waste removal services at an affordable rate. And this also, just want to put it on record, this includes all city-owned facilities are serviced by the same agreement. So upon my arrival as city administrator, I was made known of several persisting issues with our current vendor from numerous sources. Those sources included citizens, council members, staff, business owners who have all expressed a common set of issues with our vendor services over these years. So we're conducting this hearing because it's imperative that we as a collective organization continue to conduct our due diligence. We want to use the tools that we have available, which is spelled out in our franchise agreement, to ensure that our provider of these services is held accountable for any deficiencies in the service coverage. So with that being said, we'll move on to the next slide, Danielle. Okay, just an overview of the timeline. So in June of 2006 is when we began our original agreement with Waste Connections. The renewal period is 5 years, and at about 90 days before that term expires is when we have an option to let our provider know that we'd like to exit the agreement. So this has continually been renewed automatically, and that first one there renewed in June of 2011. The second term began in 2016, and we are currently in our third renewal term that began June 1st of 2021. So after my arrival, I did meet with Mr. Jimmy here from Waste Connections on August the 2nd. That was a meeting with myself and the mayor. We did let him know some of the issues that we were having. It was a productive meeting. Waste Connections was very responsive to the issues that we were having. One of the problems that we had in that meeting was just who were we supposed to be contacting. Some of the communications that we were sending over to our vendor were kind of falling through the cracks, it sounded like. They had a solution already provided on that one. They gave us a standardized email address that kind of chains in several different individuals from the company. Next on that one, we did let him know at the August 2nd meeting that we were seeing some evidence of significant problems and that we would likely be sending out a notice of non-performance, which we did on August 29th. We gave a deadline of October 28th to correct any of the issues that we spelled out in our letter, and I'll get into that in just a minute. But we actually gave 60 days to correct these violations instead of the standard 30 days. We wanted to give plenty of time to get this notice out there and to, just provide that review period. Then on November the 7th, 2022, we evaluated all of the information that we had over that 60-day period, and we decided that as staff that while some improvements were made, there was still a substantial, failure of performance. So we did send out a notice of hearing, which is this hearing, failure to perform before council. So today is 12/8. That is the council hearing date. And then just so everybody knows, our term is not officially up until May 31st of 2026. So some of the things that we spelled out in our original letter dated August 29th are areas of non-conformance, or non-compliance, excuse me. Specifically in the bundled and bulky trash collection, Section 7 of the agreement states that the service provider will collect bulky waste and bundle brush during the regular collection schedule. This is service, it's not been provided regularly to my knowledge. It has been reported that on occasion this type of waste will be removed, but there's no consistency to that as far as staff has been able to observe. Secondly, missed collections. So we do have significant data over the 60-day period and then going back to about 2019 of missed collections. So records indicate that on average, we're seeing about 3 properties being missed per month. During this 60-day window to correct performance issues, a total of 14 pickups were missed on the day of service. Also in this window, collection equipment experienced a mechanical failure resulting in delay of service. Also, I wanted to just throw it out there, we also had a process delay that occurred where drivers either ran out of time or substitutes missed maybe a whole section of a street. So furthermore, Section 17B of our agreement does state that our provider has until 12 p.m. noon the following business day after being informed of a missed pickup to collect the missed receptacle. Records indicate that over the 60-day period, this portion of the agreement has been met. Section 19 of said agreement states that the service provider shall arrange for collection of a missed pickup within 24 hours of the complaint. Our records do indicate that this portion of the agreement has fallen a bit short. Number 3, we also spelled out just general communication. We were having some problems with this one, and we wanted to make sure that there was a steady line of communication open so we can address these issues and get corrective action taken. So Section 17A of our agreement does state that the service provider shall notify the city within 8 hours regarding all non-collections. And our records do indicate that this section of the agreement has not been met. Furthermore, Section 19 does lay out that the customer service provisions where staff from each organization do agree to cooperate with one another to resolve any complaints. And as a staff's opinion on this, we do believe that Waste Connection has been cooperative to the extent that they are able. And lastly, we did mention our petition for rate adjustments. Section 16 does lay out this process for petitioning the city should a rate adjustment be needed. Obviously, a rise in cost out there. We're experiencing that with our water rates. I can most certainly understand where Waste Connections is coming from as far as needing to raise that rate from time to time. But according to this agreement, the adjustments to rates for operational reasons must be requested with sufficient detail to establish the necessity and within a reasonable amount of time. Our records indicate that this section of the agreement was not met with Waste Connections' most recent rate adjustment request. It should be noted, however, that in that second letter where we requested this hearing, I did mention in there that we had not received the adjustment for delaying that rate increase on the city's end that Waste Connections had promised. That was wrong on my end. I just wanted to point that one out. I did not see the credit that was provided in the August invoice. It was kind of the wording that was in the bill that completely threw me off. I think it was listed as a franchise adjustment or something like that. So I didn't understand what that was for. So I did just want to make sure that that was transparent. Okay, so in addition to the 14 missed pickups we had during our 60-day performance review period, over the last couple years, we're seeing those, average of 3 pickups missed per month. As you can see that we had some substantial misses here in the 2020 time period, also here in the 2021 time period, and then it kind of begins to drop off just a little bit there. I just want to go ahead and put this out there that this most likely could be due to the pandemic. I mean, with folks having to be quarantined or isolated, you're probably going to have a drop in staff, right? So this probably affected operations. And then in 2021, dealing with issues across the industry, just being able to hire and retain folks as, the bigger picture economic system, the bigger picture of the economy just had a lot of folks staying at home for various reasons. So at this time, I'd like to bring up a couple members of our staff and allow council to ask them some questions about the services that are being provided by our vendors.
Please state your name and your position.
Laura Acosta, water specialist, water clerk specialist.
Anyone have a question? Mr. Wiggins?
Yes, ma'am. Or could you tell us how long you've worked here for the city of Bruceville-Eddy?
Yes, sir. 10 years.
10 years. And has all that time been in the water department?
Yes, sir.
And all that time is where if, any customers have issues with the trash not being delivered, do they call you in that department?
Yes, they call our department.
Okay.
Yes.
And when they do call, how do you handle that, like when a customer calls and said, our trash was failed to be picked up?
I send an email pretty much straight away to Waste Connections, and I include three or four addresses on that email to
Okay.
Waste Connections.
So when you send that email, do you do it shortly after they call in?
Yeah, so if we get 3 or 4 phone calls that day, there'll be 3 or 4 emails. So after each phone call, I'll send an email.
Okay, so you don't even wait till the end of the day
No,
to send something in? You send it in pretty much right then, right?
yeah, just in case they can drive back around and pick up the missed trash or whatever the issue is.
Okay,
So-
is it been your experience during your time that Waste Management on their side, do they call you and say, okay, we've got some kind of issue, so we might not be able to pick everybody up today, and we might have to pick it up tomorrow, or could you elaborate on that?
It's got better with that communication. For a while, as Ken was saying, 3 or 4 years, no, we didn't hear anything. We would have to send them an email to find out what was going on. But
Okay,
just in the past month, yeah, we've had communication saying they're running late or the maintenance issue.
okay, so just recently, it seems like what I'm understanding you to say is that Waste Management, if they've had an issue, then they'll contact you either by email or phone,
Mostly by email.
mostly by email.
Yeah,
Let you know something going on.
yeah.
Okay, all right. When the customers call, or do most of the customers, are they pretty irritated?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, they're very frustrated.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I have at this time, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, I have a question. When you send out the emails to Waste Connection about the complaints and stuff, do you know or not if they if they took care of it? Or did the customer call back the next day, or do you know if Waste Management took care of it? Or maybe did you find out if maybe they had a picture to show you that we went out there and there was no trash there till later, or yes, we fixed it? Did they?
Just recently, they've let us know they've taken care of it, but for a long time, it was the customer would call back saying it wasn't taken care of. But just recently, yeah, we've heard that the issue's been taken care of.
Okay, well, thank you, ma'am. Anybody else have any questions? All right, Laura, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Unless y'all have a question for her.
No,
So-
I would like to reserve the right to recall her.
Oh,
If
yes, sir.
needed.
Yes, sir.
So, would council like to hear from anybody else on staff? Maybe Danielle, who's also receiving some of those calls?
I'd like
No?
to hear.
Yes,
Yes? Okay.
yes, sir.
Danielle, you'll come up front. State your name and your position with the city. Your name and position with the city.
Danielle McGruer, court clerk / water clerk.
Okay, someone have a question? Mr. Wiggins?
Okay. Could you state how long you've been working here at the city of Bruceville-Eddy?
I've been working with the city of Bruceville-Eddy since mid-July, so about 4 months.
Okay. During that time period, have you heard from our customers here about the trash not being picked up?
Yes, sir. I assist Laura in taking the phone calls and helping her process. I've also, I heard about the problems before I even became a staff member through Facebook and other websites when citizens would complain on sites that were unofficial. And then when I came here, I started taking the official reports, and then I'm the one that keeps the log for all of the data that you guys are seeing.
Okay, do you, when a customer's called and you talk to them, do they seem irritated?
Oh, of course.
Okay. Do you ever notify Waste Connections any, or does mainly Laura do that?
I usually try to keep the procedure streamlined for us, so if I take the call, I notify Laura, and we have what's called a Teams messenger. So
Okay.
I message her so she gets it right away, and then she does the emails, so that way it's coming from the same person.
Okay. Have you ever heard from Waste Connections about the trash not being picked up or going to be picked up?
So Laura's really good about copying me on all of the emails so that I can, again, put it into the log that we keep. So I'm the one that hears the ones that aren't getting picked up and things, because I'm the one that puts it into the spreadsheet for the date that we received the email or the call or whatever. So the date received, the date of when it was supposed to be picked up, the address, whatever the issue was, so whether it was a no pickup at all, or whether it was a bulky complaint, or whatever that nature might be. And then I put in whether or not we had resolution, so whether we got an email from Waste Connections explaining that a truck was broke down, explaining that they didn't have a driver for the day, explaining that they're going to swing back around, whatever their resolution or explanation to us is, I make sure that goes into the spreadsheet as well, mainly to make sure that it's fair on both sides, so that it's not just showing complaints, but we're also showing Waste Connections and what they're doing as well.
Okay. Okay, thank you. That's all I have at this time.
Mr. McGurr?
It's my understanding that not only can they contact the city, but they can contact Waste Management directly. Do you get any information about people contacting them directly?
No, sir.
Okay.
We only get the complaints into the city and then process the hopeful resolution at that point.
So reasonably, there are other complaints, but they don't go through the city.
Correct, and the complaints that are on social media also don't go through the city. We don't count those, we don't monitor those. Those are completely separate. It's only when people either email or call the city that we record that as a complaint.
So that based on what you said, have you seen complaints on social media regarding the pickups?
There were a lot more when I first moved out here. I've been living here for just over a year. And when I first moved out here, it was a huge complaint from the citizens about Waste Connections. And of course, I didn't understand the problem at the time. I've been fortunate enough that my street gets picked up on a regular basis, being a citizen in the area. But I did see a lot of complaints on social media. Again, those are unofficial complaints, so those wouldn't count towards any of the city business, because it has to be an official complaint to us direct.
Yeah, as we all know, social media sometimes has a way of getting way out there.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
everything you see on social media, you'd go nuts.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, so some of it's real, and then somebody else falls in on it, and then they make it bigger.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, ma'am, which is why,
And-
like
and
I said,
that's why I want, the reason I'm saying this, because we are live, so I just want the citizens to know, if there is a complaint, they need to call us.
yes, ma'am.
If it's big enough to put on social media, they need to tell us so we can take care of it.
Correct, correct.
All right, and any other questions?
Ma'am.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you,
ma'am.
Ms. Danielle. Ken?
Thank you, Laura, Danielle. Appreciate y'all coming up here for that. We'll move on to the next section here once Danielle gets settled in. Okay, at this point, I wanted to give opportunity for citizens to come up and just speak about the issues that they were having. So, Mayor, I'll let you see if there's anybody available.
Okay. Do we have anybody out, any citizens that wanna say anything? They could call in if they wanted to, if they wanted, you know, we'd take calls, but, Nobody's in the audience that is raising their hand to speak. We got one citizen. And she's going, so, no, sir.
Okay, we'll move along then. Okay, and then we'll just kind of begin the process of wrapping up the city side here. Just some of my final thoughts and recommendations on this one. So generally speaking, staff at Waste Connections have made adequate efforts, in my opinion, to address the missed collections that have been communicated by city staff and citizens alike. Communication with city staff has gotten better over the past few months, but it's still nowhere where it should be. As far as I'm concerned, we need to know about the issue as soon as the driver knows about the issue, so we can blast it out on our website, blast it on Savvy Citizen, and just be ready to take those calls when there's a problem happening out in the field. So these are the issues that still need to be resolved. We need to have better performance on those weekly collections. I can understand that situations arise and that we're going to miss a collection here and there, you know. Got to give wiggle room for that, right? But we also need to establish a monthly date to collect that brushy and bulk set of goods. That's laid out in the agreement, so that stuff should be going away. Generally, we just need better proactive communication. I mentioned that a little bit earlier. And then for future rate increases, I know management on Waste Connection side is already fully aware of this one, but it needs to be a true petition. The request needs to be made and considered by council. We need to have enough time to adjust the rates by ordinance, which is a process, and then also get that information out to our citizens where we're not having to do it in hindsight. And then the next slide here, this will be my last one. So I just wanted to kind of put it out there for council to consider as we move forward. Our attorney will be available to answer specific questions regarding our legal position in executive session after we hear from Waste Connections. So feel free to, you know, hold those questions until we get back there with Brad. At this point, we're not asking for any specific action to be taken tonight as far as staff is concerned. We will follow through with council's direction on this one. If desired, we can definitely do more research. We can maybe put a probation period out there for our vendor, or we can just kick this down the road and discuss it at a future meeting as well. I just did want to mention that if council does decide to terminate this agreement, which would be within their rights after this hearing is conducted, my recommendation would be to continue Waste Connection services on a month-to-month service basis and begin the process of seeking a new vendor via the request for proposals process. So this is a little bit different than just seeking bids. Competitive bid process allows us to consider cost alone. With a little bit of wiggle room there. The request for proposals process is a little more involved, but it does allow the city to legally consider other aspects, such as not only cost, but also past performance, maybe their ability to handle maintenance of their equipment in-house, those types of things. Like I was saying, it is an involved process, and I would recommend that we would hire some sort of consultant to ensure we're meeting all those legal requirements that are spelled out in Texas procurement law, making sure that we're soliciting, you know, reputable vendors who are capable of removing our waste in an efficient manner, and also we just need that consultant, in my opinion, to help negotiate a contract, which is kind of an involved process there. And my timeline on that, if we were to move forward, would probably look at six months to a year on that. So, all right, at that point, I am wrapped up, and I will pass it off to Jimmy and his crew.
State your name, sir, and what your connection is with Waste Management.
Jimmy Esparza, I'm the district manager of Waste Connections here in McGregor, Waco area. Council and Mayor, thank you for having me today. You know, I stand up here and make no excuses on the past performance that my company has provided to the citizens in the city of Bruceville-Eddy. I have been here a little over a year, and when I got here, as you can probably imagine, the operations and just the team was in disarray. Part of those issues were, yes, of course, COVID had a lot to do with it, with the labor, but the maintenance issues, truck issues, but along with with COVID, you know, there realize the delays in parts and everything that came with that. So there's some major obstacles when I arrived here at our team here in Waco to overcome. Because of those delays and those issues, your service was because it was at a downfall because of that. Since that, we have hired all new staff, including our leadership team, including our maintenance manager, Kevin McNeil. We worked prior to this year. We brought him on in February, and we made some major changes to our team and to our culture and how we run things. And I will tell you, this is not an overnight change. You know, we're still continuing to fight the labor shortages, and I'm knocking on wood right now that we are staffed. But we make a conscious effort of retention. We love to retain our people, and so we go above and beyond to retain our people. We have drivers that have been with us for over 20 years. We have drivers that have been with us for less than 60 days. But we encourage our leaders to take care of our people, because that is the thing is to do nowadays, is to retain them. It is hard to find people, and we have increased wages. We have kind of thought outside the box to retain our people. So we think that goes a long way in keeping the service standards that our cities are accustomed to. Along with those changes, we've made some major changes in our maintenance department. We have increased a kind of an outlook for preventive maintenance. Preventive maintenance in our trucks were not being conducted in the past like they are now, and we feel that's a big obstacle to cross in providing a good customer service. So we have made a conscious effort in our preventive maintenance, along with getting new equipment. New equipment is hard to find. We are about a year out. If you put in for a new truck today, you're over a year out to get that truck delivered to you. And if you do, you are one of the lucky ones. Okay? Within our company, within our southern region, we have about 50 trucks that were not being able to be delivered this year that we ordered early last year because of shortages in the trucking industry. So we have those delays as well that we're fighting. I am very confident in the changes we have made. I am very confident in our team, in our leadership team, that we will continue to communicate and serve the city a lot into what we've been doing in the past to what we're doing now. Our team is fully engaged into making this contract and making the citizens happy, and we are all in with the city of Bruceville-Eddy. We realize the mistakes that we have made. We realize the failures that we made in the past, and I truly believe because of that knowledge, we're a better team than we were 6 months ago. You will have misses. We had a customer last week that, this week, I forgot to put my trash out. We're gonna get you picked up, okay? We have customers that we miss. We will get them picked up. We will go above and beyond to get them picked up the same week. When there's delays in service because of truck issues, we will be proactive in making known to Kent and his staff that there's gonna be delays. We thought we had a delay last week. We had a truck his truck was down for over 4 hours last week. And at 2 o'clock, I sent an email out to Kent and his staff, and we were able to get the city picked up. We brought in several trucks from other cities, and after they got done with their route, and we got it all picked up. It was late. It was very late in the day, but we managed to get it all done. And we didn't have any missed pickups last week, if I'm correct. But that's the kind of determination and that's what we're gonna do for you. And have a totally different outlook than what we did a year ago when I got here. And I believe in our culture and I believe in our team that you're gonna have the safest drivers out here on your streets than any other company. We talk about safety every single day. We talk about safety when you clock in, and we're talking about safety when you clock out. And that is a very important part of our service, not only just picking up the trash, but that is a very important part of our service that we give you, is the safety of our drivers and their actions on the streets.
Any questions? Mr. Wiggins?
Yes, sir, thank you for coming.
Yes, sir.
And do you feel like that the trash collection service that y'all provide to our city could be better?
Yes, sir, I do. You know, we're averaging 3 to 4 missed pickups a month. You know, that's 99.9% success rate. And until when we have no missed pickups and no complaints, that is a good day in our day. When it's quiet, that's a good day in the trash service, right? Yes, sir.
Okay, you talked about how y'all take pride in retaining your employees.
Yes, sir.
And so, do you have very many new employees? Or most of them are pretty tenured employees?
It's a mixture of both. We're always hiring. We tend to overhire because of the summer months, vacations. But the majority of our tenure goes from 10 years and up. But we do have some new employees. They just started with us 60 days ago. In fact, we have 2 new employees starting on Monday. We still have turnover. We still have about 20% turnover. And it varies from volunteer turnovers and involuntary.
Do your employees, are they assigned to certain, I'll say routes?
That was me.
I guess in your terms, maybe it is a route. Or do you have certain employees and they tend to Bruceville-Eddy only?
Yes, sir. Your driver's Ashley Slade. He's been with the company for 4 years.
For 4 years?
Yes, sir. But he is your primary driver on Tuesdays, and he does the little piece that we do on Fridays.
So it'd be fair to say that the employee that you have that takes care of Bruceville-Eddy, he knows his route.
Yes, sir.
He knows where to go, because
Yes,
he's been working there for 4 years.
Yes,
Is that
sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I sure appreciate the way you presented yourself, and I believe that it seems like y'all are trying, but as you've seen, that this has been an ongoing issue.
Yes, sir.
This isn't something that just started.
Yes, sir.
And it's a repeated offenses
Yes, sir.
that keeps occurring.
Yes, sir.
And unfortunately, we, the city, and mainly the ladies, that they have to listen to this.
Yes, sir.
And so it not only affects them, it affects our citizens who don't have trash pickup, don't get their trash picked up. And then it affects us, the city council, because people rely, and that's probably one reason that you don't have many citizens here, besides they're working. They rely upon us to take care of these matters.
Yes, sir.
And so that's why we're all here, is trying to make things better for us and y'all.
Yes, sir.
So,
And I truly
Go ahead.
understand why I'm here.
That's it. I have a question.
The failures on our end is why I'm here. And that's why when I say when it's quiet, that's a good day in trash, because when trash becomes at the front of your issues as a citizen, there's a problem. And so when we don't hear any complaints, that's a good day in trash. When you hear complaints, that's a problem. We don't get a lot of compliments, but we get all the complaints, and that's okay. So that's why we strive to get it up to 4 missed pickups in a month. We're trying to get to 3 to 0 in a month, right? So we understand the failures that we have, as a team, have contributed to in the prior years. And that's why we've made these significant changes into our processes and our leadership team, to make those problems go away.
Right.
Yes.
Do y'all have something that if your driver misses someone, that he's to notify y'all? Do y'all have a process in place that, okay, the driver missed someone and now maybe he forgets at the end of the day, maybe he thinks, oh, I forgot that person, I'll go back and get them later, and then he doesn't. Do you have a process where he should report that to y'all?
Yes, sir. We do have a check-in process at the end of the day, and we are constantly checking on our drivers throughout the day. We have we call it a drive cam system where we are able to track our drivers as they're going through the streets, that we're able to track as they go through each street. It'll track it. But the check-in process in the afternoons, yes, sir, we do have that process where, hey, I didn't get finished with this route. I left this street. Our process should be that we contact Laura and the staff that afternoon or first thing in the morning that, hey, we're going to be out there first thing the next day to get it picked up.
Okay, when you said, and maybe I misunderstood you, I thought you said a drive cam.
Yes, sir.
Is that a camera?
Yes, sir. We have a camera installed in our
Okay.
trucks. It's a 4-camera system that the camera will shoot out. It'll show what the driver's actually seen. It will show the camera on the driver. It'll show the driver in the back. It'll show the view in the back. And sometimes it'll show the view on the sides. We
Okay.
specifically use that for safety behaviors. In order to prevent major incidents. But we also use it as a service to track if this driver did go down the street, or if we have several other drivers that, like we had last week, that are in the city, we're able to print out that route and give a part of that route, hey, this is your streets right here, pick up these streets. You pick up these streets. You pick up these streets. So we use it for a variety of reasons in our operations.
So y'all could, on y'all's part, if y'all are notified that you failed to pick up 4 trash receptacles that day, y'all could go back and verify that through the camera.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Do y'all ever do that?
We do it, yes, sir. We still go back and get it.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes we do go back at a request of the city.
Okay.
We do it for other cities.
Okay. I think that's all the questions I have at this time.
Yes, sir.
I
Thank you.
have one. You were talking about the gentleman that does our route, or does Bruceville-Eddy,
Yes,
or
ma'am.
Eddy, that he's been here 4 years. Now, I noticed, a couple of weeks ago, there was like a driver and 2 people.
Mhm.
Okay, when your driver by himself, sometimes it's hard for him, I understand, to get everything picked up and all that stuff. Is that due because you didn't have enough employees at the time? Or has that been changing since you have started taking care of it, since you've been on board with waste management? You know, have y'all, where you can have like 2 people on a truck, or?
Yes, ma'am. So your normal route driver, Ashley, he usually drives the one-arm truck. It's an automated truck.
Yes.
But because of breakdowns to that particular truck, he was in a different truck that day. So that's why he was in a different truck with 2 helpers in the back. Yes, ma'am. But we have we can change it how we see fit. You know, if it's a breakdown or whatever it is on this truck, that his normal truck is down, we have another truck that we can use.
Okay, Mr. President, you had a question?
Yeah, on your maintenance, I know you haven't spoke yet, but, on your maintenance, what have y'all changed on that part? Like, I mean, what was y'all doing before that y'all are doing now that's gonna make it better?
Well, the preventive maintenance is a big key for us.
Yes.
Our preventive maintenance, every 200 hours, we have to go through the inspection. Basically, it's like an inspection on your vehicle that you go through the inspections, and they check the front ends, they check hoses, they check the cylinders, they check brakes, tires, and there's every 200 hours we do that.
Okay.
We also change the oil on it, and we change the hydraulic fluids out on it. We change the filters. So that kind of preventive maintenance allows us to catch the problems before they become issues. If you see a phrased hose, rubber hoses, they tend to go,
Yeah.
right? So if you see a phrased hose, that's gonna go sometime.
Yeah.
So let's take it out, let's change it out right now, it's in the yard, it's at the maintenance shop, rather than out there on the route where normally, if your truck goes down, it's gonna be at least a 2 to 3 hour downtime, right?
Yes, sir.
From the mechanic, so he goes out there, fixes the problem on the road, and he gets him back on the route. It's at least a 3 hour, 4 hour turnaround. And so, the key in really looking at the preventive maintenance really is gonna help out a lot of the downtime and those issues, catching them before they actually become a real problem.
I got you on that.
We send oil samples out.
Okay.
We send oil samples out from our engines and transmissions, to see if there's anything going on internally in our engines.
Did they not do that before you got here?
They didn't do it very consistently.
Yeah.
They
But-
did it, but they didn't consistently do it.
Okay.
When they did do it, whatever issues they found were not being attended to.
Okay, I got you.
But we
And-
are now. We have our maintenance manager, Donald Stanley, has been with the company for about 4 years, but he's been in the industry and a maintenance manager for a lot longer, and he is very good at what he does.
All right, sounds
And
good.
so we are, while we are not fully staffed in our maintenance shop at this point, we are staffed
Yes, sir.
with good mechanics that we didn't have before.
And do y'all have spare trucks out there?
Yes, sir. Yes,
How
sir.
many do y'all have?
We try to keep 3 to 4 spares for every line of business. And when I say line of business, you got your residential,
Yeah.
your commercial, and your roll-off. Currently, we have 2 spares for a roll-off, we have 2 spares for a commercial line of business, and we have 4 spares for a residential. So what that means is if, a frontline truck goes down, we have 4 other trucks that we can pull from and use that in a temporary.
Do y'all automatically send a truck out? Like, say you get a call, once broke down, do y'all automatically send a truck out to take its place while that one's being fixed? Or-
I wish we had the staff to do that,
Right.
but no, we normally wait on how quickly we can get it fixed, and then from there we determine, okay, he's gonna be able to finish his route, although he's gonna finish late, he's gonna be able to finish his route even though he was down for a few hours.
Okay,
On the instance like we did last week, we knew early on that he was not gonna be able to get done. So we brought the trucks in as they were coming in. We had a truck come in from Cameron. We had several other trucks come in from other down south, and they came in and blitzed it and got it done.
all right, sounds good.
Mr. Griffin, you have a question?
Just one.
Yes, sir.
How much trouble are you having keeping enough people to work?
It's very difficult. And when you have the market like we're into now, wages, we've made 2 increases on our wages this year, very significant wage increases, almost 20% in some cases in wages. But we look at it as a culture, and to making our people happy and giving them the tools to do their job right and safely. So it is very difficult, but we realize that not just wage alone will keep someone at a job. You have to make it right for the people, and you have to look out for them. And so that's why we take safety a very important part of our culture, and retention is keeping our people safe and giving them the tools to do their job safely. But yes, sir, it is very difficult nowadays, yes, sir.
Okay, we do understand about, nowadays it's hard to get parts for vehicles. It's the same way with us at the city, our police department getting vehicles, if you want a new one to come in, it takes nearly a year or longer sometimes to get one or get parts. It takes forever. So we do understand that.
Yes,
I just want y'all to know we we know where y'all coming from that, and we sympathize with that very muchly, because it is hard to get parts and stuff and get trucks, so.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. McGurk?
Yeah, just kind of to clarify a couple things. Now, did I understand you correctly? You just came on a year ago?
It was over a year ago, it was early in 2021.
Okay, and
Yes, sir.
so all of these improvements we're talking about have been made over the last 12 months or so?
I would say that the major improvements, going into late last year into early this year, we started putting the things in process. And obviously it takes a long time to turn a ship around.
Sure.
But yes, we have made so many strides in the last 12 months that we're actually seeing the improvements in service, in our safety records, in our retention. We're seeing those improvements going a long way. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I wanted to make sure I kind of put this in a time frame.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Anybody else have any questions out in the audience? Anybody have a question? Anything? Okay. Oh, Mr. Wiggins?
Yes, sir.
The only thing I'd say that if they have any questions for, Laura or Danielle, because they're the ones that deal with it on a day-to-day basis, I'd like for y'all to be able to ask those, any
Y'all have
questions you may
questions for
have to them.
Yes, sir. No, sir, I have no questions. They're great to work with,
Thank you.
very patient, and very thankful for giving us the opportunity to work with them. Yes.
Mr. McGurk?
Yes,
In
sir.
reviewing everything that we were provided before the hearing here, one of the things that kind of stands out is communication.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to hear what you got to say to help improve the communication so our city staff is more informed on what's happening with your staff in the street.
Yes, sir. So part of that initiation was we started an email address, as Kent was alluding to earlier, that when Laura or Danielle, they send an email about a missed stop, before, they were just sending it out to our dispatcher. And, obviously our dispatcher, has days off, they get sick, the message did not get through, right? It wasn't attended to like it was before. Now the emails are going through, it's kind of a big distribution list where myself, Kevin, our two other supervisors and dispatcher on that list. So we are getting the same emails that the dispatcher is getting. So those are getting attended to very quickly and either being distributed out to the driver or to drivers to come in if there's a missed pickup or there's an issue. Kevin, Joe, our other supervisor, have periodically stepped in and came in and visited with Laura and the staff just to see how everything's going. It's usually the day after, a couple days after the service, just to make sure that if there's any service issues or questions that, when they're here, that they can provide any answers or solve the issues. But believe me, the constant communication is key from us. We have to be proactive in communicating to you when there are delays in service or when there's issues with service. And the onus is on us. And we take that responsibility very, very seriously going forward, that we are going to communicate. We're going to over-communicate. And so we have made it known to our drivers, not only just Ashley, how important this is that we communicate thoroughly after each service day.
So are you notifying the city when a complaint is resolved? You have a missed pickup, are you now then, when the truck goes out to pick that up, are you then communicating that back to the city?
I will have to check with Nicole to see if she is communicating that with her. I know for sure that it's completed because I have our complaint sheet or log that, that has the address and when it was completed. I don't know for sure if she's communicating that on a consistent basis to Laura and her staff, when it's complete. But I will find out, and if it is not, we can certainly make that happen right away.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else?
I'd just like to say I appreciate you stepping up and saying that, that you do have a problem. It's hard to get anybody to admit that they done wrong. So
sir.
I applaud you for that.
Well, thank you very much. We will work our tails off to make sure that you and the city get the right service.
Yes.
We cherish our partnership. We have a long partnership with the city, and you have two committed fellows up here to make this right.
All right, thank you very much. sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Williams.
I think, I'd like to go back into executive session
That's what I
and
was
discuss
fixing to
this.
Okay, all right, it is now 6:55 and this council meeting is over. While we, reside back here to executive session, we'll be right back.
Okay, just so we're putting it on the record here, so everybody understands that we did meet in executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551071, consultation with attorney considering potential litigation.
7:33 and the executive session over. 7:33 p.m. and our a council meeting is now in session. Okay, Mr. Wiggins.
Guys, this is and has been an ongoing issue that on repeated offenses of trash service that is supposed to be provided to the city of Bruceville-Eddy is not being performed in accordance with the terms of the agreement. As shown in exhibits and testimony, it's our belief that Waste Connections has not made a good faith attempt to continually maintain a substantial performance concerning picking up the trash as stipulated in the agreement, therefore causing unnecessary hardships on the community and the city of Bruceville-Eddy. However, we do believe in giving someone a second chance. So it's our recommendation that we give Waste Connections a chance to redeem themselves and to supply the city of Bruceville-Eddy with a continuous pickup of all the trash as it is meant to be, without delay and on the day specified, and that any further failures to maintain trash service as agreed to may be cause for termination pursuant to the terms of the contract.
I'm gonna make a motion. You can
Okay,
make that.
all right,
You
make
made
a
a
motion.
made a statement.
Okay.
You made a
All
statement.
right, you got a motion?
Yeah, I have a motion. I'm gonna move that we continue the contract with, Waste Connections, with the understanding that when there's a complaint, that we get notified when the complaint is resolved. So we'll receive an email notifying us that the complaint was resolved. Okay? I think that's all it is. Motion that we were gonna make. We're gonna continue it,
Yes, sir.
and then we get that. Okay. So that would be the motion I have.
All right,
Mr.
Second.
and second, Mr. Griffin seconds it. Okay, and I'm gonna repeat what he said, hopefully. The agreement with Waste Connection, that they will let us know in writing, like the email, that this solution has been, the trash has been picked up, and that we will, that everything's been taken care of, and we will continue with Waste Connections at this time, as long as we have communications. Okay, all in favor? Unanimous. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Is there any way I could get a card for you? Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for being here.
I appreciate you coming.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for standing up.
We thank you guys for coming. Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for giving us another shot. Thank you, Frank.
All righty, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Sir.
Thank you. Appreciate you
Thank you
coming.
very much. Okay, before we get started, let's see here, I have someone in the audience that I think wants to hand us something. If you want to come to the mic and explain who you are, and that you just want to give us some information.
Hey, how y'all doing today?
Yeah.
My name is Maurice Jones. I'm the owner of United Waste Solutions. It's a pleasure seeing you all again. The mayor, his owners, bless you, sir. Bless you. I was just asking I was sitting back enjoying Waste Connection. I started with Waste Management, and I came to Waste Connection. I know both of these. I know Jimmy personally. This is a great company, a worldwide, third largest company in the world. But like y'all stated in when we see over time, relevant to the economics and the times that's going on with the pandemic, it's very hard for a bigger company to supply certain things. We just want to ask and have that opportunity as a smaller company, a beginning company, over almost 3 years now, to give us an opportunity as well to show that we're able to do and show love and show you all that we can present it. Because I used to run this route 8 years straight, personally. And from a smaller standpoint, I'm more on ground. I'm in the trucks. I'm running around as well. I'm having to have a driver, but I will be the driver as well. Right now we have 2 trucks. We started small, but we're doing big. We have over 600 customers now. When the Killeen outskirts, Belton, Nolanville, Moody, we have multiple commercial contracts in Moody as well. We have Mother Neff now. So our company is going quite well. I just came out tonight to tell everybody good to see you all again. And I would have loved to have the opportunity to serve you all.
Okay, if you, this is our city administrator. If you have some information you'd like to leave with him,
Okay.
if you have a flyer or something you want to give to him, you can bring it up here to him, and he can keep it. That way he'll have it
Okay.
to, in case if something comes up.
Yes. Okay. I gotta get out of my car.
Okay, well, I still have your folder in my office.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
I'll give it to him.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for coming out.
Bye-bye. Okay, number 4, water rate ordinance. Council to discuss, consider, and probably take action on ordinance 12/8/2022-1, finalizing the water rate selected at the November 30, 2022 special call meeting. Kent?
Nothing for you at this time, Mayor. We're just wrapping up the end of the ordinance,
Okay.
making everything official as to what was selected last go-round.
Okay. Any question, Mr. Wiggins?
Yes, I do have a question on the, where it says effective January the 1st. So are we saying that, just to be, for clarification purposes here, once we read the meters that's read in December, are those rates gonna be in January, you know what I'm saying?
I understand what you're
It's going
asking.
in effect in January, so are we gonna make it effective with the water usage starting in January, or water usage from December? You understand what I'm saying, Pam?
So yes, I understand the question on that one. So this would be water usage in January. So this would affect citizens at the February's billing.
Okay, so they won't actually see the increase in their bill until the February's billing?
It will be the January's bill, but it
Yes.
won't be due until February the 15th.
Okay,
It'll
all
come
right.
out in January
Okay.
and be paid in February.
Yes, ma'am.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right, any
That's
other
all.
questions?
Got none.
Okay, is that all we need to do, would be to take a vote on that?
Yes.
or-
We do
Okay.
need to vote on that.
Okay. Anybody wanna?
Make a motion.
Okay,
Oh.
I'll make the motion.
all right,
Do we-
okay, second,
I'll second it.
okay.
And Mike, hey, what was
All
your
in favor?
motion?
Oh, that was a motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my motion right there.
A motion was made that we approve.
See, she
You
wrote
want-
it down.
Yeah.
And Mr. Prater seconded. All in favor?
Ordinance.
Unanimous. Okay. All right. Number 5, community announcements. Is there any announcements? Anything happening in our city this next?
I heard the Grinch might be at the church.
Grinch is gonna be showing up at the church on the
Methodist
17th.
church.
Yeah, Methodist church.
At the Methodist church. Santa Claus and the Grinch will be there. Anything else?
I move we adjourn.
Okay, that's number 6. Mr. Griffin made
I'll second it.
okay, Mr. McGurr seconded. All in favor? Unanimous. This meeting is now adjourned. It is 7:42. So much for that 30 minutes.